Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today I'm going to be going through the last day of the 2025 AFL trade period. Gee, today had a lot of things happen. And for the first time ever with big names, we've seen a lot of no deals. Zach Merrett remains a bomber. Rowan Marshall remains a Saint. Buku Karmas remains a Western Bulldogs player. And Calamar Chi does not get through to the Brisbane Lions in the way, to the Adelaide Crows from the Brisbane Lions in the way that he wanted. Now, he may be going through the preseason draft. We'll get to that. And every non-trade and trade that went through today. Christian Petracca, Clayton Oliver, find new homes. Will Haywood, Charlie Curnow, Jack Steele, Jamari Ugle-Hagan, Finbar Maley. A lot of pick swaps, Jai Sarong, Changworth Giath, Ali Florent, we've got them all. And we're going to go through it all today. Now, this video is not a trade recap of the entire club by club. That'll be in tomorrow or Friday's video. This is just of the last day only. It's not a full recap video just yet. That'll be tomorrow. Now, please subscribe to this video if you haven't already. Turn on the bell for notifications and share this around. We're aiming for 20 likes for this video and a lot of people sharing this. So we'd really appreciate it. So I'm going to go in the order of the day's play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the first trade that happened today all the way until the last one and the ones that didn't happen at the end. Or should I do the ones that didn't happen? You know what? I am going to do the ones that didn't happen. So Zach Merrett is probably the biggest one that did not happen in a lot of people's eyes. Now, Zach Merrett made it obvious that he wanted to go to Hawthorn. It was a messy situation. You got the captain of your football club saying you want to leave and be so adamant that he wanted out. You had Sam Mitchell be all chirpy all the time and Hawthorn people that they were going to get Zach Merrett. Essendon from the start said they're not letting him go. We know that was just a bit of, just all talk. They were going to let him go, but when it was a suitable price. So they stuck to their word. They've just spoken with Matt Rosa on Trade Radio and basically said if had they had offered a certain deal, which we're hearing is 4 first-round picks. Yes, you hear that correctly, ladies and gentlemen. They wanted 4 first-round picks, and that basically would have got it done. They didn't say it like that, but that's exactly what they meant. They said the improved offer might have made them think about it out of respect to Zach. But in the end, they didn't do it because they asked for an outrageous offer, and Hawthorn weren't willing to part with 4 first-round picks, and fair enough. They'd offered something along the lines of 10, 22, a future first, and Henry Huswaite, and maybe another late pick in between all that. Essendon wanted, Hawthorn, wanted Merrett and a future third, and Essendon just weren't going to do it. Very random with how this went, but it's quite embarrassing with how Hawthorn have dealt with this, not Essendon. Essendon stuck to their gun. They said, we are not letting him go. And if you are going to get him, you're going to pay a hefty price. And look, I think the offer that Essendon wanted for first-round picks is completely outrageous. No one player in this competition is worth 4 first-round draft picks. Now, granted, depending on if some of the top 10 picks, everything like that. So I can see from Essendon's point of view why they asked for it, but to think they're going to get it is delusional. But Hawthorn are the ones at fault here. They made a public commitment and were adamant they would get him across the line, and they failed to do so. They let down Zach Merrett, not Essendon. The club has to do what's best for the club. Hawthorn are the one that failed Zach Merrett, not Essendon. Now, I don't hear this shit, and I've said this throughout the time, that, he doesn't owe Essendon anything. They don't owe him everything or anything. People say, Merrett is owed to do what he wants. No, they don't owe him shit. Just like any player doesn't outweigh the club. If Essendon wanted to get rid of him, they'll let him go. If they don't want to, they don't want to. Hawthorn are the ones to blame for this. Now, granted, I thought their offer was pretty solid, but Essendon didn't want to accept it, and that's what it was. Had they included Cam McKenzie instead of Huswaite, I reckon it would have got it done, and it should have got it done. And I would have taken it if I was Essendon. But they offered only Huswaite, and Hawthorn admitted that. And yeah, if it was Cam McKenzie with the picks they offered, Hawthorn, then if I was Essendon, I would have taken that all day, every day. But they didn't. So that is on the Hawthorn Football Club for failing to deliver and getting Zach Merrett to go through all that. That's on Hawthorn and not Essendon. Essendon have some blame in it, of course, but mainly Hawthorn. Rowan Marshall. Oh, I remember all the people messaging me and complaining and moaning. Oh, Scoops, Rose leaving your banter club. Your club talks all tough and no, it doesn't deliver on nothing. Nah. We told you from the start that Rowan Marshall was not going anywhere. Now, did Rowe want to explore that option? Yeah, he did. But Rowe was also happy to come back. Now, of course, the media, the anti-St Kilda media, wants you to think that Rowe wouldn't come back. Well, you think Zach Merrett's not going to play for Essendon? Bullshit, of course he will. Rowan Marshall will be welcomed back at the Saints like nothing happened. He'll play alongside TDK in round 1. And it's going to be absolutely amazing to see those two, the best ruck duo in the league. And it's going to be great to see them both partner up in 2026 and beyond. Rowan Marshall's a good man. He will play the season like the true professional Rowe is. He'll be happy there. He's well loved by not only the Saints fans, but the club as well. Rowe is going to be a great player for the Saints in 2026. Now, from the Geelong side of things, just like Hawthorn, you got Rowan Marshall to make a public, statement saying he wants to go to your football club. It's on the onus of Geelong to pay up and front up. Now, you had a contracted player. You've got to offer more. You can't keep getting players for free. You got Jack Bowes for a salary dump. You pay nothing of that salary, basically. You got pick 7 as a token for it because you get everything you want. You got Bailey Smith for like pick 18 when he's clearly worth more than that. But the times have changed, Geelong. It's about damn time you didn't get what you wanted. It's about time you didn't get handouts. I mean, you still get handouts. You got a slap on the wrist fine for the third-party situation with all the payments at $77,500 suspension. But here's the thing. You think you can get everyone on the cheap. You got someone to make a public commitment. It is on the onus of the Geelong Football Club to actually deliver on that. Rowe did his part, and you failed Rowan Marshall, Geelong. You absolutely failed him. Just like Hawthorn failed Zach Merrett. It's as simple as that. You don't have any whip hand. I said this from the start. He was a contracted star, all-Australian level caliber ruckman. Pick 19, which ended up being 25, was never going to cut it. And apparently your last offer, if we want to believe it, was 19 and a future first. 19 and a future second. 19 ends up being 25. And if you finish top 4, a future second will be around 38. And if there's more academy picks, that'll be like 43. So 25 and 43 in the future draft gets stuffed. That's laughable that that's actually your final offer. You are so desperate for the ruck. He's a contracted player. You should have been paying up Sam Decoding and a future first, and that would have got it done. But you didn't because you're delusional. You think you can get every player cheap. Well, newsflash, Geelong, you didn't get him. And oh, by the way, what's all this talk that Geelong going to get Charlie Curnow and Rowan Marshall and they're going to be unbeatable? Sucked in. You got neither of them. Charlie Curnow's a Swan and Rose stays a Saint. So sucked in. And all these Geelong fans want to say, oh, how many flags you got? Is that what you got to come up with? Now, as of this trade period finishing, that's some of the moron Geelong fans have been saying to me, oh, how many flags you got? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you knew you stuffed up. You know your club is screwed. And someone asked me, are you crying that you had to watch us play the final series? No, I wasn't crying. I was laughing, actually, because you embarrassed yourself in the grand final. You subbed off your ruckman, Reece Stanley. Yeah, some ruckman you think he is. You subbed out your only ruck, ruined your structure, and that just showed how desperate. And it happened throughout the year. He was subbed off and dropped, and they played Blixarves out of position just to not play Stanley. You were so desperate for a ruck, and you fumbled. Geelong fumbled here. You ain't winning a grand final with Reece Stanley as your ruck. Now, I'm clearly aware that you've done it in the past, but the times have changed, Geelong. You ain't winning shit with Reece Stanley as your ruck. And you got absolutely destroyed by Brisbane in the grand final in the second half, who had Darcy Fort, who, by the way, was on your list, and Oscar McInerney, who's now retired. So, here's the thing. Sucked in, Geelong fans. Sucked in. You can enjoy Reece Stanley for another year, and I'll enjoy having TDK and Rowan Marshall pairing up again this year, or not again, for the first time, and oh, how sweet it'll be to have two A-grade ruckmen, while you have a ruckman who should not even be on your list anymore. Enjoy that. And you'll say Toby Conway, you're not too worried. Well, he's actually got to get on the park first, and he's only a second or third year player. So really, how good are you in that department? Not very. And I'm glad a club has taken a stance on Geelong and say, no, we're not going to cave in for what you want. And I'm even more proud that's my team that's given Geelong the big stuff you. Sucked in. Now, the other name that didn't get through was Buku Karmas. Now, this was one that we all thought would happen. I mean, it's pretty simple. Bulldogs don't rate Buku Karmas. They talk a big game, saying they do. Bullshit. Pick 41 was offered. You take that and run. He's not even worth a draft pick before 40. So you take that and run. You get the money off the books, and you'd be done with it. You're not having him in your best team anyway. It was clear and self-evident that was the case. I mean, Carlton are the ones that dodged a bullet here, not the Bulldogs. So, I mean, I wouldn't be crying if I'm Carlton. It would have been better than, I guess, with some of the other players. But you got Jacob Wiedering, so you don't need Buku Karmas. Apparently, he was going to play in the back line. So, you escaped a bullet there. Now, Calamari trade did not happen. I am on the side of Adelaide here. Calamari is not worth a first-round draft pick. A very, very solid player, a good player. His final series previously has been great, but he's not worth a first-round draft pick. Now, Adelaide's first-round draft pick was around 15, which would end up being about 20. Look, it's around the mark. It's close, but a bit too early for me. 25 to 35 is his draft range. And to be honest, I'd rather keep the player than not. He wants to go to Adelaide. He'll likely get there through the preseason draft. So now Adelaide are the ones that are laughing. So they'll get him for free through a preseason draft selection. For free, they put the money on the player and the years, and the club won't be able to match it. They have to be able to physically match it. You can't just say you're going to match it. You have to prove it. And they won't. So, you know, really good work from the Crows. They did not cave in as well. Really happy with some clubs that stuck to their guns and said, no, we are not giving a first-round draft pick, whether it's current or future. I'm glad the Crows stuck to their guns. Now they're getting for free, and Brisbane losing for nothing. It's like a delisted play, basically, now, effectively. So, jokes on Brisbane there. They lost a very good player for nothing now because they wouldn't accept a second-rounder, which is around his mark anyway. And to be honest, you had no leverage over the Crows here because now you get him out of the club for nothing. Like, he's a delisted player, and he's clearly a good player and a premiership player. But Calarchi will get to the Crows. No doubt about it. Right, now let's go in the order of proceedings today. Actually, before we do that even, Essendon had asked for 4 first-round draft picks for Zach Merrett, and his manager, Tom Petracca, was not happy. Go and check that footage if you want. Really pissed off with Hawthorn and then Mark McKenzie, Mark McKenzie, Jared Ruffhead, everyone a part of their trade and list management crew he was filthy with, and I don't blame him. They talked a big game and couldn't deliver for his client. And Jai Simpkin, North Melbourne's list boss, Brady Rawlings, who just seemed to be asleep all trade period. They got no first-round draft pick. Their first draft pick is like 25. And when I review them, tomorrow, let's just say their review won't be great. He said no to Jai Simpkin. Collingwood offered a future first. And why the hell did they not take that? I know he's contracted, but he's not the best of the best anymore. Still a solid player. But a future first, which is around 15, if Collingwood to go well, I'd take that and run. And you get that $1 million off the salary cap. That's what I don't understand. North Melbourne, I saw that struggled for a long time, and you've done absolutely nothing in this trade period but add Charlie Spargo. Jokes on them. You know, North Melbourne men's side are going to continue to be at the bottom of the ladder when they can't make the tough calls like this. Simple as that. Now, all the official moves on the last day. Ollie Florent is officially a Carlton player. Sydney get a future third-round pick from next year. Love this for Carlton. Ollie Florent's a solid player. They do take on his salary. It's more of a salary dump for Sydney. But to be honest, I like the move for the Blues here. Very solid play. Will play every week now. He's a run off half-back and on the wing. He's really good. Was out of form this year, but Sydney have a lot of good midfielders. So I think Ollie Florent will flourish at the Blues, and that's a good selection for them. Now, the next trade that went through, I'm going in order. Cheng with Giath is officially a Melbourne player. Hawthorn get pick 42. You know what? That's around the draft range for CJ. I think this is a bad move for Melbourne. I don't think this is a great move at all. Have you seen his final series as a sub? When he came on, he just turned it over. CJ does have that run, which Melbourne need desperately, so I understand why, but I don't think it's the right call. His ball use isn't great, but Melbourne are trying something different under Stephen King. I don't know if this is going to change their team at all. In fact, it won't, but time will tell. But yeah, CJ's off to the Demons on a 3-year deal too, apparently. Now, Jai Sarong is officially a Swans player. Sydney get Jai Sarong and a future 4th-round selection. Hawthorn get a future 3rd-round selection. So basically, for a pick in between 3rd and 4th round in the future, Jai Sarong's a fringe player, can play in the half-back line, 3rd intercept defender. It is what it is. Nothing to brag about. I mean, no one really wins here. No one really loses here. But Jai Sarong joins the Swans. Could have joined his brother Caleb at Freo, but didn't. Sticked to signing with the Swans. But good on him. He gets his move. But I don't know how he's getting guaranteed opportunity at the Swans either, but here it is. Now the Suns. Actually, no, not the Suns. The big surprise of the trade period, Finbar Maley, the Roos tall forward, has joined the Crows on a 1-year deal. The Crows get Maley and pick 64. North Melbourne get 57 and a future 4th-round selection. He'll be a depth option mainly at the Crows with Thilthorpe and Tex will still be there and Darcy as well up forward. So, yeah, it is what it is. Bit of a strange move. A 1-year deal. Was never guaranteed a contract at the Roos, mainly, but he joins the Crows on a 1-year deal, so one under him. Jamarra Ugle-Hagan has joined the Gold Coast Suns on a 1-year low-money contract around apparently $250,000. There may be a trigger for a second. There'll be performance-based, and if his behaviour is up to scratch for their standards. And Bulldogs got pick 74. So for a number 1 draft pick in the past, I mean, that's a good deal for the Suns, clearly. But the question is, will his behaviour stack up? Because we know he's got the talent, but will he deliver and behave there? That's the $1 million question. Apparently he's going to live with, I think it's Jared Harbrow, who used to play the Bulldogs, funnily enough. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And hopefully for Gold Coast's sake, he can do well there on the field, but more importantly, off the field. Because obviously that's the $1 million question with someone like Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. Now, Jack Buller is officially a Collingwood player. Collingwood get Buller and a future 4th-rounder. Sydney get a 3rd-rounder. It's very similar to the Jai Sarong trade. Collingwood really rate him. Sydney supposedly did as well. Yeah, they didn't play him for most of his career until the last 9 rounds when Collingwood were linked. But yeah, a key forward of like 199 centimetres. Collingwood don't have many tall forward options outside of Mason Cox. Thank God for them, who might not even be there anyway. Not a game changer, not nothing like that. It could be a handy pickup for free, basically. So Jack Buller is officially a pie. Now, this trade hurts me more than anything this trade period. Max Heath leaving, it's like, it is what it is. The big moose. Previous years, losing my man Timmy Membry was hard. Losing Jake Gresham and Jack Billings was very hard for me. Some of those players I have had so many great interactions with, and some of those guys I know on a personal level. And it was very hard to lose some of those names. But, if there was one that surpasses all of them, it's Jack Steele. A leader, a warrior, the man of steel. I could never, ever say a bad word about Jack Steele. He'll still be one of my favourite non-St Kilda players now. As hard to kind of say that he's not a Saints player anymore. He's been here for 9 years. Love the guy. He's an absolute ripper. You know, a bit of a story that I have shared before, but some people probably don't know about. So when I had a cricket milestone a couple of years ago, I was at an event that Jack Steele was at, and he surprised me through a few avenues, and himself personally wanting to. He knew who I was. I've met him years and years since he joined the Saints. He's just a great guy, Steely. It hurts to see him go to another club, no matter where it is. You know, he presented my cricket milestone plaque at a function. He wanted to do it, I was told by the people that organised it. You know, it's good, spoke to him for a good few minutes there. You know, he didn't have to do that. Obviously, everyone knew that was there, that knew I knew him and knew that he knew me. We got a great friendship. The man to steal is now a demon. But yeah, this hurts a lot for a whole range of reasons. More importantly, you know, I met Steely at the trainings as well. You know, we got that function where I had that cricket plaque sent to me through him, presented to me on the stage in front of all the public to see. I had a good photo, which I put out years ago, and I may make a post about this in coming days. The guy's one of the best. You know, every time I speak to him at a training session, he'd always have time for me. Always say, "Hey, Coop, how you been, mate?" and stuff like that, you know. And even, you know, at times where it's hard to do like little clips for YouTube videos, he didn't hesitate. A couple of years ago, or last year, I think it was 2024, I think it was, at the start of pre-season, I saw them at the Christmas, what do you call it, in the open training session. Asked Steely, "Hey, mate, do you mind if we just do a little clip for the YouTube?" He's like, "Yeah, of course, mate, no worries." Good guy, Steely. I'll miss him at the Saints. You know, there's some players that ditch your club like Josh Battle did, and, you know, you don't really say anything about it, whatever. But for the names I listed off previously, so JB, Jack Billings, you know, Jay Gresham, Timmy Membry in particular, they hurt. But this probably hurts the most. So I wish my man Steely all the best. I'll still be a supporter of his at Melbourne. Hope he does really well. The man of steel is a demon, and yeah, I really do hope he goes well. But in terms of the move, would have loved to have kept him, clearly, as I just outlined. But I understand St Kilda's point of view. They don't see him as a starting mid anymore. Obviously, he could have played burst there. They told him to look elsewhere. I didn't like that. I would have loved to have him still there, even if he was playing forward. I think he's a good mark, good contested player that can play a forward if he has to and play some mid. But, you know, unfortunately, he's gone now to the Demons for a future third-round selection in the 2027 draft. Now, what I don't like about this move, outside of not wanting to lose Steely, is that St Kilda just let him go for nothing. Out of good faith, they let him go to Melbourne. Great. No problem with that. But to not drive a hard bargain is pretty disrespectful and pretty disappointing. If Melbourne didn't want to give a late first or early second, then say, nah, we'll just keep him then. Like, drive a hard bargain there. So that's what's disappointed me the most about St Kilda this trade period. It's not anything else. It's only this. Warrior, a leader. He'll be a gun player for the Demons. In a midfield, they won't have Oliver or Petracca there anymore. Wish Steely all the best, and hope you go well, mate. And just don't dominate against us, please. Thank you very much. Thanks for everything, Steely. We'll miss you at the Saints. Speaking of Clayton Oliver, he's officially a Giants player. Melbourne get a 2026 third rounder and will pay at least half of Oliver's. I can't speak. I'm still angry with the previous trade. Melbourne, for Oliver, get a third rounder in the future and will pay at least half of his salary. Bizarre to pay half of his salary and then get nothing for him. Now, people say, oh, it's the exact same as Jack Steele. Well, no. Melbourne are paying over $700,000 of Oliver's $1.3 million contract. Very bizarre from the Demons to let him out for nothing and then pay over half the salary. The Saints ain't doing that, so it's drastically different. Yes, the trade numbers are the same, I get that, but the salary, the Saints ain't paying $700,000 plus of Steele's salary, where Melbourne are paying that over that for Oliver or thereabouts. So there's the big drastic difference there. I think Melbourne got shafted in this. They lost a good player who's not at his best anymore, but still a bloody good player at his best still. But for a future third, they just wanted to get him out of the club. They obviously think he's a bit of trouble there. I think he'll do well at the Giants. Clayton Oliver to the Giants. I don't know why GWS needed Oliver. I know Josh Kelly's going to probably miss the rest of the year with a hip injury, but Oliver's a different player to Josh Kelly. They already got Tom Green, who plays as an inside bull. It could work. It'd be a dangerous duo. But you got Callahan as well. Toby Green pushes through there. Maybe Toby plays more forward permanently now and has bursts in there. We'll wait and see. But a good option for the Giants in the end. Melbourne, they've been absolutely screwed over here. A trader that was heavily debated. Christian Petracca is officially a Gold Coast player. Melbourne get pick 7, 8, a future first, 37, and a 2027 third round selection. Now, Gold Coast get Christian Petracca, obviously, but along with Petracca, they get pick 24, 28, and a future second rounder. Now, clearly, Melbourne did well out of this. 7 and 8, 2 top 10 selections, a future first, 37 and a future third. So let's discount 37 and a future third from this. So 7, 8 and a future first for Petracca, future second, 24 and 28. Now, in the open market, a contracted Petracca is worth 2 first-round picks. All right, they did that. That's great for them. They got an extra future first, but they gave up 3 second-round draft picks, is what people got to understand, for a future first. And that's where I think they lost that part of the trade. They didn't get embarrassed, but for future first, they paid 3 second rounders effectively, along with 37 they got, okay? So let's say they paid 37 in a future first for 3 picks in the 20s, essentially. So they've got to be careful that this doesn't come back to bite them in the ass. But look, overall, they did pretty well. They got a strong draft hand for this year out of this particular trade. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, Gold Coast get a game changer in their midfield. They can play forward, and they've talked about him playing that role. Gets another year on his contract, I believe. I think it's 5 or 6 years now, on a good money that he was on at Melbourne. I don't know if Melbourne's paying any of his contract. But people understand from Gold Coast's point of view, they get the player for 2 first-round picks, essentially, and they need points for this year's draft and next year. They got 2 picks in the 20s, which is basically better than a future first in terms of points, especially if Gold Coast are a top 4 side range. And they get a future second into the next year's draft for the future year's draft when they can plan a year in advance. When picks get cheated for academies, they got Bodie Hewlin's brother Zeke and Dylan Patterson, who'll be top 5 draft picks. One might be number 1 and the other might be pick 3 even. So realistically, they've done really well. Pick 7 and 8 would have got chewed up, so they had to get rid of it. They got Petracca for those picks. And they got picks in the 20s to match bids and the future second to match bids for the future year. They'll have top elite draft players coming in. So if you think that Gold Coast got shafted, I don't think you know how football works. But overall, both are really happy with what's happened, and they can both be very happy. Now, 2 more trades to wrap us up with on today's news. Patrick Rechko is officially a Richmond player. He was delisted by Geelong, then was traded today. So I don't know how the hell they got that working. See, Geelong with loopholes again. The AFL only do loopholes for Geelong. It doesn't exist for other sides. Geelong got pick 99. So in other words, an extra list spot. He was delisted. Had some moments in the VFL for Geelong for the few years he was there. A bit of an unknown selection. Obviously, Richmond rate him really highly and wanted to get on the front foot before another club potentially was interested in him. Maybe that's why they've done it. But he joins the Tigers. Does Patrick Rechko. So well done to Pat and well done to Richmond. And the big trade, which was the final trade of this year's trade period, was Charlie Curnow and Will Hayward have both swapped clubs. Star forward Charlie Curnow is officially a Swans player and Will Hayward is officially a Blues player. Sydney get Charlie Curnow, a contracted Charlie Curnow, might I add. Charlie Curnow, 31, 42 in a future second rounder in the 2027 draft. Carlton get pick 11, a future first next year, and a future first in 2027. So 3 first rounders for Charlie Curnow, a future second, 31 and 42. Now, here's where I tell you how I think this trade went. Okay. I think clearly Sydney just wanted to get their contracted star forward because they really, really desperately needed it. See, Geelong, that's how you do it. They put a realistic offer and they got their man. Now, Carlton, along with Will Hayward, get 11. So 3 firsts and Will Hayward for Charlie Curnow, future second, 31 and 42. Will Hayward's a very good player. I rate Will Hayward very highly, around the 20s. Now, if Charlie Curnow continues to be injury prone, then Carlton are laughing for 3 first rounds and Will Hayward. I'll be doing cartwheels if I'm Carlton with this. Yes, they missed a star key forward. Yes, they lost TDK and Jack Silvani. They're going to be shit next year. No doubt about it. But long term in the future, 3 first round picks are returning Jagger Smith, who hasn't even debuted for them yet, and Will Hayward for basically Charlie Curnow in a future second. I'd be doing cartwheels if I'm the Carlton Football Club with this trade. They easily won this. Will Hayward is a bloody good forward who they were interested in last year. They got Ollie Florin as well, essentially for free, which is really tied up to this, but not officially. So I don't know how you could say that Carlton didn't do well in this. You just simply can't. The player wanted to go. There was not much they could do. Charlie Curnow is officially a former Carlton player, is Charlie Curnow. And Will Hayward is officially a Carlton player. Both clubs can be happy, but I think Carlton should be more happy than the Swans. Sydney were really happy they got their man. And unlike Geelong, they actually can do a realistic deal and actually offer a club something. Unlike Geelong, offered St Kilda nothing that was worth Rowan Marshall's talent. Now, coming up in the coming day or two, I'll do a full club-by-club recap. Thank you for watching this episode of the AFL Trade Wrap. Please subscribe, share this around. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and all my social media channels. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the people getting around this. The content doesn't stop as we've got a full trade recap tomorrow and more vlogs at the AFLW, interviews, Gold King challenges, and the like. My Perth trip vlog as well will all be coming out over time. Thank you all, and go Saints. And we still got cash to splash.